Welcome back, everyone. So, how many of you have had this experience? You have a thought about something very specific, and then within a very short period of time, you either look at your phone or you turn on your flat screen, and there it is. Either in the form of an advertisement or a video that pops up in your feed. You never searched for it, you never talked about it, and you never typed it into any search engine. But there it was. The thought never got past your skull. But yet, there it is, presented right in front of you.
Is it a coincidence or basically conspiracy theory at this point? I think my iPhone is reading my thoughts. It's crazy. I mean, I know that people say, oh yeah, it listens to you, and then you'll see something pop up like 5 minutes later that whatever you were talking about. But now I think it's reading my thoughts. I was thinking about getting one of those like walking treadmills, the ones that you put like under your desk, just so you know you're not stationary while you're, at work or whatever. Literally 2 minutes later, I decided to go on TikTok, and the first thing I see is one of those TikTok shop things, ads for that same freaking treadmill. About 10 minutes after that, I go on my emails to check something, and it's the walking treadmills on sale at Walmart. Crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, I think my phone knows me better than I know myself at this point. I thought about buying it, and 5 minutes later, it shows me an ad. That's crazy.
So what's happening, folks? How is this happening? And don't let these companies or AI gaslight you into believing that all of this is just coincidence. Now, predictive AI is real, but none of this is coincidence. And we all know that when things like this happen and these giant tech companies don't come straight out and tell us what's happening, we should all feel justified in just assuming that something dark and sinister is going on. You know, Satan cannot read your mind. Fallen angels cannot read your mind, and neither can demons. But sometimes other people can, right? So if machines are tracking your thoughts, is it frequencies? Is it biological or behavioral data? Or is it something more profound? Something not really tracking your thoughts, but something tracking your life.
There is a reason why this TikTok is kept from my friends and family members. It's because I share stuff like this. By the end of this video, you're gonna think that I'm completely crazy or I'm lying. I promise you that I'm neither. I need to tell you a little bit of a backstory. Today, me and my husband were coming home from a little weekend getaway. I was a little upset at my husband, a little irritated, and so I wasn't talking to him. And that is important, super important part of the story. So just remember, I was not talking to my husband. My husband was driving and I was in the passenger seat. I was just kind of like looking up in the sky, and I noticed the clouds. I started to like imagine little pictures in the clouds. A lot of people do this. Look up at the sky, see a really pretty cloud, like, oh look, that looks like an elephant, or that looks like a bear, that looks like a dog, whatever. You get it, right? So I was doing that, and while I was doing that, I had this thought in my head where I was like, it would be really cool for like an artist or something to like take pictures of clouds and draw out what they're seeing in the clouds, sharing that, kind of like using the clouds as our artwork. My thought, I was like, this artist could have like a style where being imaginative and like finding beauty in the clouds and sharing that. So thought that it would be cool if somebody like took pictures of clouds and then they like put it in like an AI software and then told the AI software like, help people see, a dog in this cloud, and then like watch the cloud morph into like the dog or whatever. I don't know, just like random freaking thoughts, right? And remember, I'm not talking to my husband, so that's like a thought that I completely had to myself. I didn't share that with him. Fast forward to tonight, scrolling along Facebook, this pops up. First of all, look at this. Are you seeing this? How? Okay, so I don't know about you, but this is freaking weird. And you call it a coincidence all you freaking want, but I'm gonna tell you right now, a coincidence to me would be like me maybe like thinking like, oh, I need to buy a new bathing suit. And then like scrolling on Facebook and seeing that there was like bathing suits for sale or an ad for swimsuits. And that stuff happens to you all the time. But that's weird, whatever. But this is like 20 out of 10 weird. This is the most specific and most random thought that I have ever had in my private little brain. And yet here we are, displaying it on Facebook for me to find. Like within just a few minutes, by the way, of me scrolling for the first time on Facebook for the whole day. So I don't know if anybody can explain to me like how this happened, but I'm convinced that somehow my thoughts are being like, I can't even say it out loud. It sounds too freaking weird. But how else would you, how do you explain this? And it cannot just be a coincidence. This is too freaking random, guys. Too freaking random. It's so freaky. It's literally beyond freaky. I just can't.
So here's the best way I can explain this. And this should give you all a better idea of what's possible and what may be happening here. Now, mind reading technology does sound like science fiction and should not exist. But scientists have already demonstrated that thoughts can be measured, they can be mapped, and in some cases, they can be decoded. We know that this exists. We know that we can do this, right? We already know that they can connect electrodes to the scalp, and using sophisticated AI software, they can generate images based on your thought patterns. That's no secret. And we all should be aware that this has been demonstrated many times, and those demonstrations are not hard to find online. So publicly, we know that they can do this. Patients with electrodes placed on or near the brain have been able to move robotic arms, type messages without speaking, and even generate artificial speech by thinking about the words they want to say. So the basic idea is simple. Every thought, every memory, every decision is the results of billions of neurons communicating with one another through tiny electrical impulses. Those impulses create patterns. And with enough sensors and enough computing power, researchers can then train artificial intelligence systems to recognize those patterns, right? In other words, the brain is producing data, and modern technology is getting better and better at interpreting it. But here's the question. If thoughts can actually be mapped in this way, could it ever be done wirelessly?
Dude, TikTok's algorithm is getting smarter and smarter by the day. This is the third occurrence I've had where I'm thinking something, I literally didn't say it or utter it at all, and the next thing that popped up was that exact video that I was thinking about, and it repeated it. And I'm telling you right now, the technology that TikTok is using will kill us all. And I bet they won't even promote this video. I'm telling you guys, it is reading thoughts. There's a reason why they're trying to ban it.
You see, now, most existing brain computer interfaces rely on electrodes touching the scalp, right? Or in some cases, being implanted directly into the brain, like Neuralink. But the reason isn't because thoughts can't leave the head, it's because the signals are very, very weak. And without an amplifier, it's difficult to separate from all the electrical noise that is surrounding us. So with something like Neuralink, which is invasive and implanted into the brain directly, that's how you get the best signal. The next best thing is using electrodes on the scalp. But now you can even purchase wireless EEG headsets that connect with Bluetooth. That's something else that I have to get into. And that will transmit data wirelessly. But you still need the headset, right? The human brain naturally generates electromagnetic activity. Hospitals already use technologies like EEG to measure electrical signals from the scalp, and MEG, or magnetoencephalography, to measure tiny magnetic fields produced by neural activity. These magnetic fields are unbelievably small, millions to billions of times weaker than the Earth's magnetic field. But they are there. EEG, or electroencephalography, use electrodes placed on the scalp to detect the electrical patterns. By themselves, the signals look like meaningless waves. But with enough data and modern artificial intelligence, they can train computers to associate certain patterns with specific actions or intentions, or even imagine speech. So the real challenge is not whether the brain emits signals. The challenge is whether those signals could be detected from a distance. Or should I say, how do you transmit the EEG data wirelessly or remotely without electrodes or a headset, or without anything touching the human body? Some researchers believe that future generations of sensors could become more sensitive than what we have today. Advances in quantum sensors, optically pumped magnetometers, and ultra sensitive magnetic detectors have already begun replacing some of the large shielded equipment that is usually required for brain imaging. Now, as these technologies get smaller, it is reasonable to ask whether they could eventually become portable, right? Now, people have their theories about AI reading their mind. But the more verifiable answer to this is indirect detection. So instead of reading the brain, advanced AI systems will combine dozens and dozens of external measurements like eye movement, facial micro expressions, heart rate, skin conductivity, voice stress, breathing patterns, body posture. Google, Facebook, or Meta, and Apple, they all use these technologies, right? And they track every single little thing about you and how you interact with your devices. They keep track of how long you scroll, when you scroll, micro pauses as you're scrolling, facial reactions to what you see when you're scrolling, finger movements. Let me tell you how sophisticated this is. Based on your phone habits, if you pick up your phone, scroll for 5 minutes, put the phone down for 2 minutes, pick the phone back up and scroll for another 2 minutes, it knows based on your patterns that your next move is to put the phone down and go take a walk in the park. You see? So what it will do is it will already have a long list of things that people think about when they are taking a walk through a park. So when you get back home and look at your phone again, there goes an ad for new walking shoes or a leash for your dog. Something that you were likely to think about while taking a walk through the park. And AI can really narrow it down because it was tracking all your other habits throughout the day. You see? It's just like when you ask ChatGPT or Gemini a question. It answers you based on word patterns, right? It's the same thing. It already has a list of human thoughts that match, biological and behavioral patterns that go along with a specific thought. And it's not 100% accurate or precise, but it doesn't have to be. It only has to come close. It's just like if I were to say to you that I can read your mind based on body language. Now, I may not be able to know exactly what you're thinking, but I only need to get an idea of what you were thinking, because then I can go pick out a product or a video that comes close to what you were thinking or matches it. Sometimes I may get it right and that would blow your mind, but sometimes I would get it wrong. So while AI is tracking all these things about you and making predictions based on your behaviors and actions in daily life, it's going to recommend content and products based on that information when most of the time it's going to be off or get it wrong. But you only notice it when it gets something right. And that's when you think it's reading your mind. Do you see the trick here? This is why sometimes it seems like it's reading your mind and sometimes it doesn't. This is also why you may be scrolling through certain types of content and something crazy is shown to you out of left field. And you're like, whoa, what is this? I don't want to watch this crap. Be careful, because AI is also tracking your reaction to that too.
Ever think about something and then a few minutes later it pop up on your phone? It's not a coincidence. It's happening too often. Let me explain. You ever be vibing and then you just be thinking about, let's just say pizza, and then bam, Domino's pop up on your phone right there. You be like, what the fuck? Or you mention a random product to a friend and now it's suddenly all over your feed. That's not coincidence. This isn't target advertising. It's too precise. They're not just tracking your searches, they're tracking your thoughts. So here's how it works. Your device has subvocal recognition, which was originally developed for the military. It detects micro muscle movements when you almost speak, but it's also picking up brainwave patterns. Yeah, brainwave patterns. Studies show that AI can predict what you'll think next just based off your biometrics, heart rate, eye movement, and even how you hold your phone. Your subconscious is being scanned. Ever notice when you don't search for something, but your phone already knows?
Now, there is something that you have to understand, folks, that goes along with this. When you have a thought that leads to an action, when that thought leaves the subconscious mind and enters the conscious mind, there is a delay. In other words, your brain makes a decision milliseconds before you are aware of that decision. For example, when you move your hand, your brain makes the decision to move your hand milliseconds before your hand actually moves. This is how AI knows what you are about to type next before you type it. It's crazy, right? But this is how far we have come with this technology. It's not magic. It's just fast.
Okay, so check this out. What if the algorithm, the way that, like they always say the algorithm, they don't know how it works, right? It's kind of like this black box. What if the way that the algorithm works, something they don't want you to know, and why they fight so hard for the right to repair on things like iPhones and Androids, maybe the same way that your, okay, check this out. Maybe the same way that your phone works by lining up with a certain frequency to transmit data over cell towers. What if your brain is functioning at another frequency that your phone is actually able to read? And that's the big secret behind the whole mystery of the algorithm. It's actually reading your mind. Like what if your subconscious is actually broadcasting out of your brain at a certain frequency, and your phone is actually able to pick it up and then serve you what your subconscious is thinking, and that's why you feel like it shows you things before you even knew you wanted to see them. Like when people say stuff like, oh, the algorithm's showing you this for a reason, maybe that reason is your subconscious is actually broadcasting to your phone to tell it to show you things that align with what you want to see to keep you addicted to the application.
So AI can create an accurate model of what a person is feeling, their intentions, or what they are about to say based off of that information. Now, if you have enough of this behavioral prediction and enough AI training data, then you have something that could become indistinguishable from mind reading.
TikTok is using biometric data, your biometric data, in order to send you videos that you will engage with on your For You page and also in your search bar. I just saw a woman on this app talking about how she's a little sheep and she follows all the trends on TikTok when they're like, oh, type in, search your year and it'll give you your outfit type or like whatever. And something popped up on her page telling her to search her Myers-Briggs type plus the word outfit. So she goes to her search bar on TikTok, and before she can even type out what she was looking for, it said INFP outfit ideas, like her Myers-Briggs. And she's never consumed any Myers-Briggs content on TikTok. So this leads me to another video that I saw from a girl on here. I can't remember her name. If you do, please tag her. She's talking about this researcher who does research on biometric data and how they found that they were looking at our biofields, basically. We emit a frequency, or there are particles surrounding our bodies called a biofield. And when those particles change or do things, like you can pick that up like Wi-Fi, basically. So our phones can scan our biometric data, our biofields, and basically just without us saying anything, talking about anything, typing it in, they can sense a change in our frequency, our emotional state, our physical body by reading our biofield.
If AI knows where you go, what you watch, who you interact with, what you buy, how you move, when you use the bathroom, when you have sex, and how your body reacts to certain subjects, it may not need to literally read your thoughts to predict what you need to see next. And then there are some other ideas, right? For decades, there have been claims about classified research into remote neural monitoring, synthetic telepathy, direct energy systems that could allegedly detect or influence mental states without physical contact, by the way. And that stuff is expensive. And based on what I just explained to you, they don't really need to do all that, do they? They don't have to do all that to show you ads for some sneakers, right? If AI sees that you like looking at pretty women on TikTok, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what it needs to show you next, right? Now, folks, trust me, the publicly available evidence for this is there, but most people just don't have the time or the patience to sit there and research through all the information. They just don't. And so some people keep debating the subject without ever clearly understanding how it works. But people are beginning to catch on, and more people are beginning to understand how it works.
So something really fucking weird happened earlier, and I'd be curious if this has happened to anyone else or something similar. I was all alone where I'm staying, and I was watching something, and there was a character in what I was watching who had a really cool jacket on. It was like a grey kind of herringbone tweed sort of thing, and I thought to myself, that's a really cool jacket, I wonder where he got that from. Anyway, the show ended and all that. Then I come on to TikTok, and what is shown, literally the first thing, this jacket. And I'm not joking. We talk about AI merging with human beings. Maybe this is not in the physical sense of us becoming cybernetic, but if we think AI as a consciousness, maybe we are merging telepathically with these AI systems. I don't know. If anyone has had an experience with this, I'd be very curious to know, or anything similar. I know when you speak about stuff, these devices listen in, and they're programmed to do that, obviously. This is not what happened here, because I didn't say anything. I literally thought it. Anyway, yeah, quick video.
So we are well past the point of just the concept of technology that can read the mind. Because the truth is, depending on how you look at it, we already can. Now, when it comes to brainwave patterns, we have already learned to translate electrical patterns in the brain into words and actions and intentions using electrodes. Is it really such a big leap to do this wirelessly or remotely without anything making contact with your body? Because that's all that's really needed to achieve this. How long before someone figures out how to capture these same patterns without technology touching the head at all? And if that day ever comes, how would we know that it happened? Well, based on what I've seen and read, it already has. Now, there are some things you can do about this, right? Now, if you go into your phone, depending on what phone you have, your phone should have predictive automated settings, just like with automated text, right? You can go into your phone and just be careful at selecting your settings. Some of these apps that you're running on your phone, you don't need to allow those apps access to your camera, files, images, and all that. You just don't need it to do that. Okay? And this is one way you can mitigate the process of AI tracking everything that you do. Now, folks, here's the real problem. The dark, sinister problem. And that is neural entrainment, where the brain locks to external rhythms. So EEG research has shown that the brain operates through synchronized electrical signals or rhythms. Delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma. Okay? And these rhythms go along with different states of consciousness: attention, memory, emotion, and perception. What this means is that external electromagnetic fields can alter EEG activity. Certain frequencies appear to produce frequency-specific responses, and the brain can shift its oscillatory behavior when it's exposed to external rhythms or stimuli. In other words, the brain is not completely isolated. Its electrical activity can be influenced by external electrical activity or stimulus. External rhythms, light, sound, electrical stimulation can cause neural oscillations to synchronize with those rhythms. And the effects of this can last long after the stimulation is removed. What this means is a strong external signal can temporarily influence how large groups of neurons coordinate, which means that they can use external electrical stimulation to influence your brain's activity. This means that they can alter states of consciousness. They can increase anxiety and fear, suppress critical thinking, enhance suggestibility, amplify specific mental tendencies by shifting the brain into certain states of consciousness. The idea is, if you alter the brain's rhythms first, the resulting thoughts and emotions will change as a consequence. So while people are thinking that the machine somehow read their thought, maybe, just maybe, it was the machine that put it there.
I am now fully convinced that TikTok can somehow read my mind, because I had the idea the other night to make a post about people I'm jealous of, and it was like people who have really strong stomachs and can kind of tolerate anything. And I opened the app today and it's like people I'm jealous of. I didn't say it out loud to anyone. I didn't text it to anyone. I didn't write anything down. It was in my mind, and in my mind only. It's scary.
Anyways, folks, that's all for right now. Something to think about, right? Please click the thumbs up button and like this video for me. Please click the thumbs up button. Please click the thumbs up button and like this video for me. Please join us over on Patreon. You can sign up for free. And there are other options if you want to show more support. You can also find Woodward TV on Rumble, Facebook, X, and Spotify if you just like listening to the show. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about all of this and what your experiences have been. I'm interested to find that out. Anyways, everyone, have a wonderful day, and until next time, as always, stay awake, stay aware, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all soon.